Are Arsenal readying a bid for Ivan Toney? Yes, people, welcome back to another Arsenal transfer news video. As always, if you love being kept up to date with daily Arsenal transfer news vids, which I'm guessing you are since you clicked on this video, make sure you subscribe down below on my road to 5,000 subscribers. And please let me know your thoughts in the comment section regarding Ivan Toney's potential move to Arsenal. I'd absolutely love to hear it. Let's get straight into the tweet brought today by No Smoke Sport, and it states this: Brentford are ready for Toney bids from Arsenal and Spurs, the two North London clubs. Both clubs keen on moving for the player in January. That has to be said. It is in January, not this summer. Brentford value him at around £80 million, and Toney recently spoke of his love for Arsenal. And of course, he spoke of his love for Arsenal in a recent podcast he did with Steven Bartlett on Diary of a CEO, as I already covered on this channel. And the source is The Times, which is a newspaper within the UK. But that's not all. There's another tweet coming from Ben Jacobs, and it states this: Ivan Toney has signed with CAA Stellar, with Jonathan Barnett looking after him. Multiple offers expected in January for Toney when his 8-month ban is over, breaching betting rule expires. Spurs, Manchester United, Arsenal and Chelsea have all discussed him. I mean, Ivan Toney's got exactly what he wanted, right? All the big clubs are circling him like sharks. And he's going to get a move, I reckon, very, very soon, potentially in January, to one of those big boys and really start to develop his career. Now, why is signing new agents important? Well, those of you who know anything about football and anything about sports in general would know that when a player wants to transfer, more often than not, they actually sign to new agents. It's just something that happens to go on. We know that when Moises Caicedo obviously didn't get to move the Arsenal that he wanted, he then signed new agents. And lo and behold, he got the move to Chelsea this summer. It's just something that goes ahead. It's an unspoken rule. When you want to transfer a move, you get your new agents, then the deal materializes. And Ivan Toney has already said in the podcast with Steven Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO that he's ready for that next step up in his career. He loves everything that Brentford have done for him. He loves the opportunities that they've given him, and he hopes he's paid it back to Brentford, helping him in the Premier League. But he scored 20 goals last season. Arguably, he is the second best striker in the Premier League if he's fit, with players like Isak potentially rivaling him to Erling Haaland. But the man is an absolute out-and-out goal scorer, and he's a complete striker as well, in my opinion. He's not just his 20 goals a season, which is absolutely ridiculous, by the way. That is so good to score goals like that. I mean, Arsenal would clearly take someone like that up front. I'm sure I'm not the only fan that thinks that. But it's everything he has to his game. He's as strong as an ox. He's built. He can score with his foot, right foot, left foot, with his head. Set pieces as well he can score from. Link up play. Be a real physical target man up front. I believe he's everything Arsenal should want. And another thing is, right, he's a real character. Now, I know obviously he's been in the news recently for the wrong reasons, the betting allegations and the fact he'll be banned from football for 8 months. And I don't condone that one bit. But one thing I will never doubt about Ivan Toney, and he proved that again in his interview with Steven Bartlett, is the man is a genuine character. And I do believe that not only are good footballers brilliant on the football pitch, they're brilliant characters as well. The way they hold themselves. They have so much self-respect. And they just ooze aura. Aura is a word that all the Twitter nerds on Twitter seem to just be abusing right now. Oh, this player's got aura. This player's got aura. Don't listen to any of that. But Ivan Toney genuinely has aura about him. He's a man that holds himself in high regard. And I love seeing players like that around Arsenal Football Club. Now, I understand that he's made some mistakes in the past. I understand the tweet he said about Arsenal. That's a good kick about with the boys. But that's tongue-in-cheek. It was his first game in the Premier League. He was just delighted to get off with a flying start. And he's trying to make amends bit by bit. The fact that he even said in the podcast that he was a massive fan of Arsenal growing up. Sorry, he was a Liverpool fan, but he always loved the way Arsenal played growing up. And he's in love with the Arsenal fan base, who show so much passion. You can see he's building the bridges between the Arsenal fan base and, of course, him potentially trying to make a move to the club in January. Now, Ivan Toney would love to come to Arsenal. I'm absolutely 100% sure in saying that. Ivan Toney wants to move away from Brentford. He's already said to Thomas Frank and the Brentford coaching staff that he appreciates everything they've done, but he does not want them to get in the way of him making a big move. You saw Brighton stand in the way of potentially Moises Caicedo going to Arsenal in January. Again, for him to go to Chelsea in the summer, they basically stood firm, but eventually they caved in and got the 110 million. Ivan Toney does not want something similar to happen in January or potentially the summer. If a big club comes in for him, which is what is expected, given he's gone to new agents, given the fact that a lot of big clubs have shown interest, as shown in that tweet, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, etc., all potentially readying bids and speaking of their interest for the player, it seems like it's going to be a massive, massive battle for his signature. Now, Brentford will win in any case. When it's only one club going for your player, and that player wants to move, you got the short end of the stick, really. You've drawn the short straw. Because, to be honest with it, the player wants to move, there's only one club interested, you kind of have to cave into those demands. But Brentford right now in a good position. Ivan Toney's contracted to them for still quite a while. It's not like his contract runs out in the summer. And a lot of clubs want him, meaning that there's multiple demands from all different areas and the supply is restricted because it's just one player in Ivan Toney. So they can make it an auction war if they really want to. Now, I believe out of all the clubs interested, Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal, you have to say Arsenal and Manchester United are probably the more desirable clubs out of all the clubs there. Manchester United just signed Rasmus Højlund for £70 million. Now, Rasmus Højlund, I do not believe will be the striker that Manchester United envision, the likes of the Victor Osimhen or Harry Kane. But just spending £70 million on a striker, to then go and spend another £70-80 million on another striker, it doesn't make sense to me. It's almost like saying you don't trust the first striker you signed. Also, on the flip side, have not spent £70-80 million on a striker. I don't think we've ever done that. We've obviously spent money on Pepe and Havertz and Rice, etc. And obviously, Gabriel Jesus cost us £45-50 million. But we've not broke the bank on any sort of striker ever in our club history. And if there's ever a position where you want to spend the big bucks, I do believe it is the striker. The striker is not a position you skimp on and spend your 40 million and expect output. I think it just goes to show that if you're bringing a top striker through the door, you're going to get output, man. A striker needs to be getting 20 goals a season at the very least. A striker needs to, you can basically bet your mortgage on them getting 20 goals. If Harry Kane or Erling Haaland scored 20 goals in a season, you're not sitting there and going, oh my days, it's an absolute ridiculous season by Kane or Haaland. They've done absolutely amazing. You expect that from them. That's the bare minimum. The 30 goals a season is when you're sitting there going, what a brilliant season by these type of players. On the flip side, if Gabriel Jesus gets 20 goals a season, every Arsenal fan sitting there and going, oh my God, what a season by Gabriel Jesus. He bagged us 20 goals. That's the difference. If Arsenal want to reach the heights of the Man Cities, etc., they need a striker that can get you 20 goals a season at the minimum. Now, Ivan Toney's only scored 20 goals in one Premier League season, but it's only his second season in the Premier League. And he's been playing at Brentford, and he missed the last 5 games. So I think it all points in the right direction. I do believe Ivan Toney has got the minerals to make that big move and thrive at a big club. And I think Arsenal should be the club to get him. Now, I do believe the striker position is the next position Arsenal need to address. I'd love for it to happen in January. I do hear that Arsenal are looking to make 100 million from potential sales this summer in what's left of the transfer window. There's about just under 1 week left. Balogun potentially is going to Monaco for £35-40 million. Kieran Tierney's already gone, although that will only be a loan move, I'm hearing. Other players potentially could leave, including Nicolas Pepe, for example, Rob Holding, Cedric Suarez, Nuno Tavares, Albert Sambi Lokonga. All these players are linked with departures from Arsenal Football Club. Now, I don't believe Arsenal can raise 100 million from these players. I thought out of all of them, potentially following Balogun would have the most sell-on value, and we've only sold him for like 35-40 million. But if you can raise enough capital, let's say £80 million from those players, £70-80 million, that gives us something to throw at Ivan Toney in January to test the waters there. Now, do I expect Arsenal to go in for a bid? Well, the tweet here says that Arsenal and Tottenham are readying bids. But there's one thing readying bids, and there's actually another thing tabling a bid. There's a whole other question. I do think Arsenal will take their time over this one. Arteta's very careful about the type of personalities he brings into the football club. He doesn't like to bring in players that disrupt the flow. I think he doesn't like egos in this football club. Hence, he shipped out Aubameyang, for example, and potentially Lacazette as well. And the problem is, a lot of the strikers, especially the top ones, have an ego. It's not a discredit to them. It's part of their game. I do believe if you want to be a top striker, you do need an element of an ego to you. You do need that kind of like aura where you think you are the best. You are the top striker. Ivan Toney said himself on that podcast that he believes when he steps on the pitch, he is the best player on that football pitch. No matter if he's going up against Lionel Messi or Barnett's team. Do you get what I mean? And whether Arteta will want that, that's another question. But I think Arteta has to succumb to that. Just like Pep Guardiola in his days would never want to play a focal striker because he doesn't like the ego of having a number 9 up front. I remember in his first couple of seasons, he didn't even trust Aguero. He'd rather play Gabriel Jesus. Well, he succumbed to that. He let his ego out the door and he brought in Erling Haaland, a top striker. And lo and behold, Man City went on to win the treble and obviously beat Arsenal to the Premier League title. So I think Arteta needs to do the same thing. And kick his ego to the side, obviously leave it by the door and think, you know what? I understand that I don't want to have many egos around the football club. I want to be a very team-oriented football team. But if Arsenal need to bring in a top striker, that's what needs to happen. Because we want to compete with the top teams around this league and in the Champions League as well. And a top striker could be Ivan Toney. So for me, I'd love to see this deal materialise. I'd like to see Arsenal going with a bid in January and try and prize him away. Because, look, this Premier League season is going to be 38 games. We failed to sign Caicedo last January, having bid £70 million. We ended up signing Jorginho. Jorginho was not a bad signing whatsoever. And he obviously came up big for us at certain points last season. But I would have liked to know what happened had we have signed Caicedo. What would have happened? I'm not too sure. Either way, that's the past. I don't want Arsenal to make the same mistake. If we get to January and we're within touching distance of winning the Premier League title again, with Man City neck and neck, why not go and blow the bank on Ivan Toney and try and sign a top striker? Give us that boost heading into the final 6 months of the season. And of course, give us that boost that bringing in a fresh new top goal scorer does into a football club. It adds to the confidence around the team. It adds that momentum. So I'd like to see Arsenal make this happen. So look, there's still a lot of time until January transfer window. As I said, we're still in the summer transfer window. But now's the time to start looking at your transfer targets for January. Now's the time to start circling some players and going, this is who we want to attack. Because you have to move early in these transfer windows. If we want to sign Ivan Toney, if we want to sign Evan Ferguson, if we want to sign Victor Osimhen, I don't mind. I trust who the club wants to bring in. But identify it early and execute it earlier. That's how I want to see. That's what I want to see Arsenal do. So look, I'd love to see Arsenal bring in a player of the caliber of Ivan Toney. The tweet here says Arsenal readying in a bid. I want to see it happen. Obviously, it's going to be January when we find out what's going to happen regarding Ivan Toney. But I think he'd be an absolutely brilliant addition to Arsenal Football Club. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section regarding Ivan Toney. Would you like to see him come to Arsenal? Or would you rather Arsenal target another type of striker? I'd love to hear it down below. And if you are new around here and love Arsenal transfer videos, which I'm guessing you do since you made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe down below on my road to 5,000 subscribers. And importantly, hit the bell notification button so you never miss a future video on this channel. I've been Wife Boy. I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Drop a like down below so the video gets out to more people in the algorithm. And I hope to catch you all in my next video. Take care.